November is National Native American Heritage Month, a month set aside to recognize the significant contributions the first Americans have made to our country.
We here at Rocky Mountain Red-Handed would like to do our part and shine a light on a few of the heartbreaking cases of missing and murdered Indigenous women. These women cannot be forgotten, and we hope by sharing their cases, we can help bring them justice and comfort for their loved ones.
The Rocky Mountains hold many mysteries.
Millions of people enjoy the natural beauty,
but some come across the hidden dangers.
This is Rocky Mountain Red-Handed.
I'm Becky, here with my lovely friend Melanie.
The stories we share are remembered by some but forgotten by many.
So let's dive into Rocky Mountain Red-Handed.
Hello, friends. We hope you're all well today. It's actually Halloween when we're recording, but for everybody else, Halloween has passed. So we hope you guys had a good night.
Mel, really quick, how's your sugar intake today?
Today? Oh, it's going to be high. Yeah, I'm actually in costume currently. Becky and I are going to post a picture, so you'll have already seen it by the time this airs of us in costume.
I don't think my costume would fit inside our recording studio.
Our recording studio is small.
But my costume is very poofy. So as you listeners know, I call Melanie our Malibu Barbie, and she is Barbie.
I am Barbie today. My husband is Ken.
Oh my goodness. Like, she's got a cute little leotard on, and her little butt cheeks are hanging out with... She looks fantastic. Lots of neon.
Yes, bright colors. It's super fun.
Love it.
Yep.
So, I hope everyone is healthy and happy. I'm hoping, everyone had a good, safe Halloween. Thanks for being here with us. And we have an important announcement today. Yeah. Our giveaway. We are going to start doing our giveaway and give away these amazingly soft, awesome Rocky Mountain Red-Handed t-shirts.
Oh my God.
Mel, can you give us the details?
Yes, I am so excited. Okay, so what you need to do to be able to win one of our t-shirts, we are going to post a picture on our Instagram of Becky and I in our shirts.
Mm-hmm.
You need to share that on your stories on Instagram or Facebook stories. Either is great. If you have a private account, you can just screenshot it and DM it to us so that we have that. And then on your platform, your podcast platform of choice, just make sure that you're following us.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah, share us with your friends. Let's get the word out. And you will love this t-shirt, guys. I promise you will wear it.
Yes, we are so excited. So please make sure you're doing those things. We want to get these shirts out and we can't wait.
Absolutely. We can't wait to see the response from everyone. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and see me and Becky's face all over Instagram.
Poor Instagram. So just a reminder to be sure you are subscribed and following us on social media. So those socials, just go ahead and check out our link tree.
Yep.
And make sure you are connected with us.
Yeah, keep sharing with your friends, rate and review us. You can do that on Apple Podcasts. You can follow us on any of the platforms, but it really helps us out and we appreciate it so much. Before we get started, we'd like to offer you a heads up. Today's story contains details that might be difficult for some to hear. Though we always put great care and respect into each of our cases, the true stories do often explore physical violence, sexual violence, familial violence, suicide ideation, and other content that may be upsetting or triggering to some.
Please take a moment to decide what's best for you. If you or someone you know needs help with emotional and or crisis counseling and resources, please dial 988 in the United States.
Ask for help. You are not alone.
So without further delay, let's get into our episode today.
So today starts our focus for the month of November. Like Becky said, November is National Native American Heritage Month. So we thought it would be a good time to focus our efforts and spotlight cases of Indigenous women here in our Rocky Mountains.
Yeah, so to kick this month off, we'll be telling you the story of Shakaya Blue Harding from Montana. Her episode is named, Is She Hurt? Is She Cold? Is She Hungry?
So Tamara, Beer Comes Out, who is Shakaya's mother, loves to talk about her daughter. You can see it in her face. Tamara loved the independence and the creative spirit of her daughter. She loved how she lived each day of her life. Hopefully that bold spirit is still with us.
Shakaya Blue Harding was born November 28, 1998. It's unknown what happened to her to this day. She was last seen about 4 p.m. on Buena Vista Drive in Billings, Montana, back on July 23, 2018. Blue, as she is called by her friends and family, was just 19 years old when she disappeared.
Shakaya was a proud member of the Northern Cheyenne tribe. The Northern Cheyenne Indian Reservation is located in present-day southeastern Montana. The reservation is approximately 444,000 acres in size, with 99% of that tribal ownership. With currently 12,266 enrolled tribal members, about half, which is about 6,012, reside on this reservation.
So Shakaya was living outside of the reservation when she disappeared that day back in July of 2018. She had her share of challenges. She was struggling with mental health issues and addiction at the time. She spent the spring and summer months living on the streets in Billings, Montana.
So while Becky was researching for Shakaya's case, the only mention she could find of Shakaya in the newspaper in 2017 was actually an arrest.
Yeah, that's right. It's so sad to me. This poor woman, this young girl actually, disappeared, and yet the only place I could find her name was earlier in 2018 regarding an arrest. There was no report of her in the newspaper when she disappeared. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Laurel Outlook, which is a local Montana paper, printed a small article on April 14th of 2018. So this is just about 3 months before Shakaya would disappear. Apparently on April 13th, 2018 at 5:20 p.m., Shakaya was arrested for shoplifting at Town Pump. That's a gas station and convenience store in Laurel, Montana.
Yeah, so Shakaya allegedly stole a soda and a bag of chips. The total theft amount was $5.97. So she refused to make a statement at the time of her arrest. Of course, Melanie, we know that no one should be shoplifting, but it just seems really sad to me that this is the only mention of her in local newspapers in 2018.
I know, for stealing less than $6.
Less than $6, and the poor girl disappears off the face of the earth 3 months later and nothing.
So heartbreaking. Even though Shakaya was living a rough life at this time, she always stayed in touch with her large, close-knit family. There was never a week that went by without someone hearing from her. She was close to her sister, her mother, and her cousins specifically. She would always stay in touch with her family no matter where she was on the streets.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people who are struggling with mental illness and addiction are like that. They may be doing their own thing, living on the streets, not living their life in a way that their family would be happy with, but they do maintain those relationships. There are those regular check-ins,
right?
That they know that they are okay. The family knows that this person's okay. Again, not living the life that, your family would want you to, but a lot of people who live on the streets do maintain that contact with their loved ones. So Shawnee King, Shakaya's older sister, was one of the first family members to put the pieces together. She realized no one in the family had heard from Shakaya in a while, actually over the entire month of August 2018. It was tricky because Shakaya regularly called multiple family members. So it wasn't just one contact person. It was call grandma, call sister, call cousin, call grandma, So they began, kind of putting the pieces together, started talking, and they were, recalling the last time they heard from Shakaya, and they realized no one had heard from her in weeks.
So Tamara Bear comes out, who is, again, Shakaya's mother, organized the family, and they started calling and visiting anyone that they could think of who was close to Shakaya at the time that she disappeared. It's not really an easy thing to do, right? When Shakaya doesn't have a home, a job, or a normal schedule.
There's no home base to start at. Yeah.
There's not a job that she goes to on a regular basis.
No of those normal everyday check-ins.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but the family just did the best that they could.
So they made missing posters and they plastered them all over the Billings area, hoping to find someone who knew Shakaya's whereabouts. So Tama reached out for help from the Yellowstone County Sheriff's Department. On August 20th, 2018, she went into their office and officially filed a missing persons report for her daughter, Shakaya Blue Harding.
And we are going to take our first break to hear a word from our sponsors.
Rocky Mountain Red-Handed is brought to you by Balance of Nature. I love my Balance of Nature. I take it every morning and it makes me feel so good.
I do not like to eat vegetables, so I take my Balance of Nature to be able to get in the nutrients that I need. Go to balanceofnature.com and use promo code REDHANDED for 35% off your first order.
We call it 3 and 3. I take my 3 capsules of veggies, 3 capsules of fruits, and it gives me all I need. So that's Balance of Nature, promo code REDHANDED. Sponsors, thank you so much. We appreciate your support. So we just left off when Tamara, Shikaya's mother, went into the Yellowstone County Sheriff's Department to report her daughter as a missing person officially.
So Tamara loves her daughter and misses her every single day. Tamara has shared some beautiful memories of her daughter and how she was known to break out and dance and singing just out of the blue. Shikaya really had a unique sense of style and just loved being herself, which is so cool.
She totally sounds like my cup of tea.
Yeah,
I love
comfortable in her own body.
Mm-hmm. Tamara has said, quote, she had her own sense of style. She dresses the way she wants to dress. She didn't care what people thought. She didn't care if people saw her singing and dancing. That's me. If they don't like it, they don't get me. Which I love.
So the day of the missing person report, the Montana Department of Justice showed Shikaya's information was entered into the National Criminal Information Database. This database allows all law enforcement agencies to have access to this case being entered. This is a great way to try and get the word out, and we're glad that her information was entered, at least in this place right away.
Yeah, sometimes law enforcement can, drag their feet in getting the info out. Yeah, her info was entered into the system that day, and it's amazing that they were just right on top of it. Sometimes that does not happen with missing cases.
Montana has not been without criticism in the past for how they have handled indigenous missing people. Keep in mind that Shikaya was one in over 300 missing indigenous women in Montana in 2018.
And
one in over 300.
And that's not counting men. And there is a lot of missing men. So this is really an epidemic.
That's so sad.
The statistics are completely startling. Indigenous people make up 6.7% of the population, but they are 26% of the missing persons who remain missing after 1 month. So, that's kind of a big difference. Sometimes a teen will take off for a day or two, or a relative goes dark, but those cases, they come back. Most missing persons cases are resolved within 3 days, but we're not talking about those cases.
Yeah, the people who are really missing for a long period of time, those are the ones we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And it's that's just staggering that they make up 26% of the missing persons who remain missing after 1 month.
Right. Especially because they are only 6.7% of the population. It's just such a crazy statistic and just so sad, heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is. So there are different types of missing person alerts we hear about in the news. Some missing persons cases get more attention than others. We are all very aware of that, right? Law enforcement have tried to bring more of these cases to the public's attention and have attempted to almost categorize the different alerts.
Right. So most of us are probably familiar with the wonderful Amber Alerts that we have, right? These notify the public of a serious child abduction. I love that we can get these alerts on our phone now, hopefully get that information out quick by so many people in the public.
Well, and I think no one is bothered by Amber Alerts. I love seeing them. I love when I'm on the freeway and it comes over on the display boards above the freeway. I think it's so amazing how law enforcement is being so proactive with these alerts. It's such a powerful tool. So another type of alert is a silver alert. These alerts notify the public of missing older adults with a documented mental condition. I've seen these locally. Have you, Mel?
I have too, yeah.
Yeah.
A blue alert notifies the public of a wanted violent criminal who has killed or seriously wounded a local, state, or federal law enforcement officer. I haven't seen any of these come over my phone, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah,
I'm sure they are used.
I'm sure they are as well, and I haven't seen them myself, but I'm so glad that our law enforcement has been safe in our area, at least. Yes. Yeah. So the endangered missing alert notifies the public of a missing person of any age with an intellectual disability. I've seen this one as well.
I've seen this one quite a few times. A camo alert notifies the public of a missing current or former member of the United States Armed Forces. This includes National Guard or a reserve or an auxiliary unit of any branch of the armed forces that is struggling with mental illness.
I love that they have this alert. So many of our armed forces suffer from mental illness, from what they've seen during their service. And lastly, a clear alert notifies the public of a kidnapped or abducted adult who is in immediate danger of injury or death. Have you heard of the clear alert?
No, I haven't.
I'm so glad I haven't heard of a lot of these, but I think it's great that they are in place and they're ready to help.
Yeah, I agree. So the problem that law enforcement runs into is a lack of information at like the beginning of these missing persons investigations. Law enforcement usually doesn't have the information that they need to be able to alert the public. If they do have the information, then they release the alert that they can send out to the public.
Yeah, I mean, if they have nothing to inform the public, their hands are kind of tied, yeah. Between 2016 and 2018, Montana issued 78 missing endangered persons alerts. 60% of those victims are indigenous. 60. Ugh.
Shakaya's family admits that they didn't have much information for law enforcement. The relationship between Shakaya and her family had been strained during the spring and summer of 2018. Shakaya had started acting more and more erratic. We aren't sure if this was caused by like drug abuse or if it was deteriorating mental health.
Or maybe a combination of both,
Yeah.
don't you think? They kind of go hand in hand, unfortunately. Her mom has told a local newspaper, quote, "I don't feel like she is gone, like she's dead. I don't feel that kind of, at first I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to know the outcome. I wasn't ready to find out, was that the end? But now I'm ready. I just want to find my baby. I know someone out there knows something." End quote.
I just can't even imagine as a parent not knowing, right? There's not any kind of closure. There's nothing. They could be out there and you have no idea what they're going through from day to day, from moment to moment. That would be so draining and so exhausting.
Yeah, and just because someone's living like a high-risk lifestyle and you can't be around that person, it doesn't mean you don't love them. But sometimes when our loved ones make poor choices, we can't just sit and watch them make those choices over and over again. You've got to have that distance. And I understand some families go through that.
Yeah.
I worked as a case manager for a drug rehab center, and a lot of families go through that. They're just so emotionally burnt out that they have to distance themselves. It doesn't mean they don't love, doesn't mean they don't support.
Right.
But to get through it, they can't just sit on the sidelines and watch this person make these bad choices.
Yeah, it's healthy for them to set those boundaries.
There has to be boundaries.
They still love them.
Absolutely. Well, as we have mentioned, missing person cases, especially for Indigenous people, are notoriously difficult cases. We can all agree that law enforcement is extremely short on resources, and unfortunately, it's very common for law enforcement and the family to not see eye to eye on these investigations, right?
Yeah, so remember Tamara, who is Shakaya's mom, went to the sheriff's office on August 20th. The family claims they did not hear from Yellowstone County until November, when Detective Frank Fritz contacted them, and he had just been assigned the case.
And that's 3 months later.
That is such a long wait.
From the time that Tamara went in to file the report to when Yellowstone County contacted her was 3 whole months.
That's so sad.
Shawnee King, Shakaya's sister, told a local reporter, quote, "What's frustrating is, yeah, we know how it looks, and yeah, we know she was into drugs and all of that, and we know it took us a long time to realize she was missing. But it doesn't mean it to get brushed off. That's what it feels like. It feels like we are on our own trying to find her." End quote.
Detective Fritz denies that the sheriff's department did nothing in those 3 months prior to his assignment. He does refuse to be specific about any actions because it wasn't his case at that time, but he does dispute the department not doing anything.
Yeah, Detective Fritz's first action was made on the day he was assigned the case. He got right on it, November 30th, 2018. He issued a press release to the public. It was sent to local media and gave a lot of details of Shakaya's appearance, unique markings, and mentioned she had personal connections to people in Montana, Kansas, and New Mexico. So he really tried to get the word right out.
Yeah, so at this time, Detective Fritz also contacted the FBI due to Shakaya being a Northern Cheyenne tribal member. Hopefully, the FBI has and continues to bring additional resources and support to Shakaya's case. Detective Fritz has declined to discuss any specifics of the open investigation, including if he thinks that she is or was in danger.
Yeah, which we understand. An open case, they can't put that case in jeopardy. But it is really frustrating for us. I mean, I wish we had more to the story. I wish we had answers. So let's take a minute for our last sponsor break before we get into the end.
Give your brain the natural nutrients, blood flow, and neurotransmitter support it needs to make the fight with depression an unfair fight.
Get stronger daily with Whole Supplement.
Build momentum each day with the Whole Depression Relief Stack, the 3 targeted daily formulas that will help you feel, enjoy, and progress again.
So, how do you take the whole stack?
1. Wake Up Formula.
Take Wake Up in the morning with a glass of water to kick off your day with motivation and energy. Number 2 is the Daytime Formula.
Take daytime around lunch to ensure you have the focus, mood, and productivity to power through the day.
That sounds like something we all need. Number 3, the Sleep It Off Formula.
Take Sleep It Off about an hour before you plan to go to sleep for amazing rest and brain support that will consistently set you up for better days.
I've experienced depression since I was a teen. I try to do my best to take care of my mental and emotional health and manage my anxiety and depression. But even with medication, I can find myself struggling some days. I started taking Whole Supplement just a couple weeks ago, and I already feel like I am giving my body the armor it needs to win the fight each and every day.
The ingredients in Whole Supplements have been used for hundreds of years. They just haven't been put together this way to help people struggling with depression. There are no proprietary blends and no hidden ingredients in Whole Supplement.
So here's Adam Steer, founder and CEO of Whole Supplement.
I started Whole Supplement with the mission to help others who, like myself, have struggled with finding relief from depression and anxiety. Our number one goal is to empower everyone we can to make meaningful progress every single day.
So now is the time to take care of your emotional and mental health.
During the pre-launch offer, you can receive the entire Whole Depression Relief Stack at 15% off.
Go to wholesupplement.com and use code Rocky Mountain.
Again, go to wholesupplement.com and use coupon code Rocky Mountain.
Simplify your fight with the whole stack from Whole Supplement. And we are back. Thank you so much to our sponsors. So Detective Fritz continued to work on Shakaya's case, but cannot share any details on the status of the investigation.
So Shakaya's family has participated in many public marches to bring awareness to the missing and murdered Indigenous women. One was held in downtown Billings on Friday, April 5th, 2019. The march began at the MSU Billings and ended with a public rally on the lawn at the Yellowstone County Courthouse. I bet that was powerful.
Shanae King, who is Shakaya's sister, and also her mother Tamra, spoke to the crowd. Shanae asked if the gathering could pray for Shakaya and asked if everyone could say her name in unison. Shanae said, quote, "There's a lot of stigma behind my sister right now. She was an addict. I will admit that. And I don't know if that's what's causing her case to not be so known. Either way, she's missing. And a lot of times I feel like she's forgotten. I feel like her name isn't out there enough." And
I think it's so amazing that Shakaya's family has not given up, nor have they shied away from the hard facts of her life. Yeah, she was an addict. She was living on the street, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't matter.
Right. Every single person matters. She matters as a person, regardless of what situation she was in, regardless of her being an addict.
Absolutely. 100%.
On Monday, February 24th of 2020, right before the world was shut down by that darn COVID-19, a dear friend of Shakaya's spoke to a large group of people during a rally for murdered and missing Indigenous people in Hardin, Montana. Cheska, not afraid, said, quote, "I'm only 20 years old and I've lost 2 people already. I shouldn't be holding 2 signs."
Gosh, isn't that heartbreaking? Cheska was there at the rally representing her friend Shakaya and her cousin, Selena Not Afraid, who went missing on January 1st of that year. Her body was recovered just 20 days later after she was reported missing.
I mean, that's so sad that she's just 20 years old and she has already lost 2 people that were really close to her in her life. It's just heartbreaking.
It's so wrong. I can't wrap my head around that loss at 20 years old. Oh.
Fortunately, word of these cases is getting out, and it has become something that most Americans have now heard about. The astronomical statistics of missing and murdered Indigenous people. Murder in Bighorn, which is a 3-part documentary set on the Crow and Northern Cheyenne Reservation, has really made big headlines across the United States.
Have you seen this film?
No, I haven't.
I haven't either. The documentary, which premiered at the Sundance Film Festival here in Utah, tells the story of several missing women in Montana through, interviews with the victims' families, tribal leaders, law enforcement, and they even have to bring in some state medical examiners.
I feel like this month would be a good month for us to watch that.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
One of the cases the documentary features is Shakaya Blue Harding. Filmmaker Ivan McDonald said, quote, "This is really a deep dive into the structural aspects of jurisdiction in Indian country, legal barriers to justice, the political and cultural climate, and why these cases aren't taken seriously." End quote.
Yeah, so Mel, I think you and I both need to watch this documentary this month.
Yes, it's streaming on Showtime, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to go watch it there.
I don't have Showtime, but I will be getting it for this month. But it sounds worth it for sure.
Again, the documentary is called Murder in Bighorn. We will put a link to that in our show notes as well.
Yeah. Side note, Mel, have you seen Martin Scorsese's Killer of the Flower Moon yet?
No. Do I need to watch it? Where is it?
Okay, so I've read the book twice.
Okay.
My dad and I have kind of been obsessed with this case,
Uh-huh.
for a decade at least. It was so good.
Where can I watch it? Do you know?
It's in the movie theaters.
Oh, okay.
Or it's on HBO.
You said you went and saw it.
Yeah.
Right?
And it was so good. I think it's so amazing that Martin Scorsese, he spent so much time with the tribe and incorporated as many tribal members, and just really, he told the story so well. And I'm going to say this too, because I had a couple friends and a sister that didn't want to see it because they're sensitive to language and really bad violence, because it is a Martin Scorsese, and I'll tell you, the language is not bad at all. At all. And the violence, yeah, there is violence, but it wasn't gratuitous.
Okay.
So go see it. It's so good. It really tells the story of how indigenous people have just been completely screwed over in our country's history.
Interesting. Okay. We'll have to go and watch that.
So sorry, long side note, but I wanted to share that with all of our listeners. Go and see this movie.
Okay.
So Shakaya Blue Harding's family is possessed by constant worries. A federally funded study was released in August of 2019. Its findings: in some communities, indigenous women are 10 times more likely than the general population to be a victim of homicide. Melanie, wrap your head around that.
So Tamra Bear Comes Out, Shakaya's mom, still sorts through any and all clues or hints of where her daughter could be each day. She said, quote, "It just seems unreal, just not even knowing. Some days you just wonder, is she hurt? Is she cold? Is she hungry? Every day."
It's something I can't imagine enduring through each day. I mean, it's heartbreaking to me that her family's going through this. So for the month of November, we will be shining the light on cases of indigenous women, all except for 1 week, that is, in honor of Veterans Day. We will be covering a case of a veteran from our armed forces. Then we'll be returning to missing and murdered indigenous women for the month of November.
Shakaya Blue Harding has been missing since July 23rd, 2018 from Billings, Montana. She is Native American and was 19 at the time of her disappearance. She would be 24 years old if she's still alive currently.
Mm-hmm. At that time of her disappearance, she was 5'4" and 125 pounds. Her ears are pierced. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Shakaya, please contact the Yellowstone County Sheriff's Department at 406-256-2929.
So Becky and I do follow MMIW, which is Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women. There is a movement to help with this crisis that we're facing right now. So you can find them on social platforms, follow them. We would love to support and bring awareness to this unfortunate epidemic that we're facing right now. So go follow them. They're a great organization, and we just want to support them.
A great organization for sure.
And in honor of National Native American Heritage Month, our Rocky Mountain Redemptions will be featuring some amazing indigenous people who have helped their communities in our Rocky Mountain states.
Yes, Tesha Hawley was a single mom living on a reservation in Montana and fighting cancer. Single mom fighting cancer. She's got her hands full. Yet she noticed a huge need in her community, and she took it upon herself to make things better for her people.
Tesha told CNN, quote, "Our reservation is about 30 miles from the Canadian border in north central Montana. You're probably about a good 3 hours to major hospitals," end quote.
Tesha noticed a huge need for transportation for medical services in her community. The majority of people who, live in her area were living in poverty, and they need assistance with transportation, food, hotel, gas. I mean, there's a lot of expenses when you go for medical appointments out of your city.
Yeah, she helped facilitate these services for her communities and even took it a step further and has started a nutritional program in her community.
Yeah. Tesha said, quote, "If we could eat healthy, it will reduce the risk of cancer. So we have done distributions for fresh fruits and vegetables, fresh eggs, and we join in a collaboration with our tribe to help harvest the buffalo."
Tesha has accomplished all of this while still being a single mother and a cancer survivor. She's become a force of nature in her community and is really making a difference for current residents right now and for generations to come.
She is a mover and a shaker. Isn't she amazing?
Yeah, that's so cool.
And that is your Rocky Mountain Redemption.
Thank you so much for listening today. We want to remind you to follow our social medias. Just click on our link tree and you can find us in all the places.
All the places. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, it really does help us out.
So we do want to have a couple little end notes that we want to add in. Guys, we had so much fun through the month of October.
We really did.
It was fun.
It was such a fun month. And we had so many fun comments on our Instagram and Facebook, which is just so exciting to see that growing, see that community growing, conversations going on.
Mm-hmm.
A couple that I thought were really fun when we talked about the Wyoming over detention and the prison.
The frontier prison.
Oh my gosh. So Tammy said, "I just moved from Rollins. I've done 2 haunted tours of the prison." She said there's great stories during the tour, but it will scare the bejeebies out of you, which I'm not sure I'm up for, but Becky is.
Melanie, you're coming.
Becky is up for that. Susan said, "If you take a tour, let me know. I want to go with you."
So is this a Rocky Mountain Red-Headed field trip?
Apparently, that would be so fun.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Oh my gosh.
So fun. Yeah, and we had a couple comments about how we kind of maybe changed some minds.
We changed the world this month, Becky.
No, we had some people that said, "Hey, before I listened to your stories about Lonnie Zamora and Travis Walton, I did not believe in aliens. I didn't believe they existed. Now my mind's changed." So I think it's great. I think it's fun that we have a conversation going about it, and it's just fun. October is just a fun, spooky month. But I am really looking forward to these indigenous cases that we're going to be covering in November, because these ladies need a light shined on them for sure.
Yeah. So we were talking before we started recording as well about what to do for Christmas. So if anyone has any great ideas, I think we want to keep it a little bit lighter that week. But if anyone has any ideas, just shoot them our way. Email. You can email us at RockyMountainRedhanded@gmail.com, or you can send us messages on any of our social platforms and we'll look through those.
Yeah, for sure. Please, we'd love some fun suggestions. And we're not taking any weeks off, guys. We're going to be with you through the holidays.
We are doing it. Somehow we're going to do it.
So we will be back next Wednesday with another story to tell you straight from the Rocky Mountains. So until then,
keep your hands clean.